Top United Nations officials have delivered another chilling assessment of ISIL's offensive in Iraq. The militant's brutal tactics have left more than 2 million Iraqis displaced in other countries. CCTV's Liling reports now from New York City.
Monstrous is how the United Nations human rights chief describes the crimes committed by Islamic State fighters in Iraq. He warns that the brutality may qualify as international offenses, including genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity.
The authors of these crimes are people whose actions are nothing but disgusting and whose consciences have demonstrably been annihilated.
Highlighting their atrocities, Zaid Ra'ad al-Hussein says the strategy to counter the Islamic fighters must go beyond a military approach and instead address also the ideology of violence.
Ultimately, the ideological front may be more effective than airstrikes in bringing an end to the long-standing suffering of the people of Iraq.
And the Islamic State fighters bear responsibility for most of these crimes. Officials say it's not the only perpetrator. There was also criticism against Iraq security forces and armed militias linked to the government over violence against civilians. The UN Human Rights Office is also looking into the conduct of military operations, including airstrikes and shellings. Meanwhile, the humanitarian situation remains dire for millions of internally displaced persons, or IDPs, with more food, fuel and warm clothing needed in the coming winter months.
$173 million in winterization funding is urgently required in order to meet the needs of IDPs in the Kurdistan region and elsewhere. These needs are time-sensitive, and there is little room for delay.
UN humanitarian chief Valerie Amos warns that the World Food Programme needs $85 million in the next few days to prevent disrupting January's food supply meant for some 2 million people. However, some progress has been made on the ground. The head of the United Nations mission in Iraq, UNAMI, praised the Iraqi government's efforts to improve cooperation with local communities, the taking back of the Baiji oil-producing areas, as well as the breakthrough oil agreement reached between Baghdad and Erbil. Communities have been spurred by the Islamic fighters' brutality, such as the recent massacre of more than 300 members of a local tribe, and have decided to start pushing back against the militants. Liling, CCTV, New York.